Hello, everyone. Welcome to BizChicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today I am here with Coach Caren Fern, all the way from Toronto, Canada. She's in the house, and we're excited to have her because she always has great information about how to handle our money. She's our money mindset coach because all things begin right here. So she's going to reset our brain so that we can maintain a healthy financial future. So, with that, I introduce to some and present to others Coach Caren Fern. How you doing this morning, Coach?
I am doing fantastic. I'm doing fantastic. And if you hear any noise, I also have somebody outside doing some knocking. So,
Okay, so I'm going to mute myself because my lawn guy is out there too. Okay.
all right. So we're just gonna continue and do what we got to do. People doing what they got to do. All right. Let me also turn off my phone so that sound is not coming in double with this other sound. All right. So today we're talking focus, guys. And yesterday, no, last week, we touch on consistency. And we're talking about that because June, we talk about different types of wealth. And for us to get those wealth and sustain those wealth, we got to be consistent and we got to be focused and chipping away a little bit at a time. It will really help us to get to where we want to be. Even when you're in the midst of feeling like you're not getting anywhere, guys, just so you know, you're moving. If you're moving and somebody else is not moving, you're ahead of the game. No matter how small a movement, you're ahead of the game. All right? We're chipping
I
away.
like the way you express that. If you're moving and the other guy isn't, you're probably going to get ahead.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So we're talking about focus. And first, let's talk about the meaning of focus. Focus meaning the center of interest of the activity. You're here, you got a 2-year-old or even a 3-year-old, and you might not even know what it is, but if they tell you it's an elephant, man, they're focused in on that elephant. Whether you see the elephant, once it's in their mind and they understand they're drawing an elephant, it doesn't matter what you say, they're completing that elephant. I want to be a kid again when you start focusing. Anytime you have problems focusing, think as a kid. A kid will make you believe that there's an elephant on the page when it's 3 lines across the page. That's it. Because if you believe along with them, make no mistake, in a couple of weeks, you all of a sudden have a lot of elephants. You'll notice that their scrawls change. You'll notice that they are making a face, and if you keep paying attention, the elephant comes to life. It don't happen right away, and that's what happened. That's what I really want to take away from this today. It doesn't happen right away, but it do happen. The state or quality of having or producing clear visual definition. Now, it never starts off right. I was watching last night a guy developing a product, and it was in his mind. It went on paper. He had like a big board. See my hands like this, like 4 times the size. And he would just keep putting little elements on the board and writing little notes to himself. This was not for anybody, but he's just showing you his journey. And then he did it in cardboard. And then he did it in, it looked like, I think, plasticine or something. And he was just testing it out. And then eventually he kept moving it and doing it. And he was setting up this kit to contain clutter really, and he just keep doing different parts of it, but his focus keep coming back to what he wants, how it's supposed to look, and it didn't matter the material until he get to the material. Sometimes we lose focus too because we want everything now, and all parts of the whole don't come together. You got to start to get the parts to come together. People want the whole thing to come together, but even if your mind has inspired you about a whole, it still breaks down into these pieces to get back to the whole. You got to believe in whatever it is your mind eyes is seeing. Right. So that's what I've
Wow. That is really good, Coach, to know that, you're not going to see the whole thing at one time. It's a process. Wow.
It's a process. And anybody tell that they see the whole thing, they could see it in their mind eyes. But the minute they touch it, it's like money. This is why I talk about money. It's always in the head first. The minute you start anticipating how you're going to make it or what's going to happen, a whole bunch of
Mm-hmm.
things happen to you. That's because you want to go at the whole. But if you say, I want to make $10,000, I'm going to give an example, right? And your focus is 1,000, and you say, I want to make it yesterday. You know you're lying to yourself, so it's not happening. You say, I want to make it in 90 days. A lot of ideas going to come to you. First of all, you need a dumping ground. And then you need to pull out some things from the dumping ground and focus on that. And you're going to fail a lot. Put that on the board too. I'll fail. And then when you
Yep.
fail, take the failures and put it under the failure. And the ones that you figure out you learn something from, put it right under there or above learning curve. And now you're going to see, you start picking up things from failure and putting it in the learning curve arena. And now you've got these spots, the dumping ground, the ones you pick that could be valuable at some point, the ones that you think you really fail at. And if you give yourself a day or two, even three, and you come back, you're like, but I learned something from those three. So the learning curve. So you pull it down now and you put it in the learning curve. You've got movement. You're focusing on this idea, but you've got movement. And
Yes.
movement come. What happened with movement? Movement breed results.
Mm.
Movement. I can't tell you how movement results. A little tiny person who got a lot of hips brought something for me to alter. And it feels impossible because the top makes no sense for the bottom. But we have to leave the bottom big because she's got bottoms. And
Mm.
I could have done it the same day. I'm like, no, I need to put this aside and think how this is going to be possible. And once you break that apart, because this is why sometimes it's hard to buy clothes. Not everybody got the same shape. And some tops are so tiny. And then the behind and the leg is so much, right? That's their natural shape, not the enhanced. So younger, right? And now we have to figure out. Now, if I didn't start movement and breaking it down, she will have this beautiful bridesmaid dress ready for her. So we had to take time. I stayed focused and I said, okay, what's the timeline? Prep, timeline, and get it ready. Those are the things that makes me shine, makes me happy. I love seeing a smile on somebody's face when I can do something for them that they've been struggling to get somebody else to do. And the other person probably couldn't do it. They just didn't think they could. That's the only diff, right? So we're going to look at three things today. We're going to look at why do we need to focus on one thing at a time?
Okay, that's a good one. One thing at a time.
One thing at a time. And are you willing to fail to learn what works for you? Not me, not Terry, but for you. That's it. And what is the reason you have lost focus? You gotta go investigate. So let's talk about it. Why do we need to focus on one thing at a time? Because when we don't get as much concentration. If you know that you haven't figured out how to be on Facebook and have a project going and listen to music, take off the music, take off Facebook, not mute it, take it off, and just do the one thing. If you're distracted easily, write it on paper first. Matter of fact, I advise that to everybody. Get it on paper first. It's less distraction. If you truly want to do a project, get off the computer and do it on paper. The great designers do it on paper. They might not tell you. The sculptors do it on paper. They might not tell you. The writer might be on a computer, but will take time out and cultivate an idea and then come back to the computer. Most great writers have notebooks. Tons. An idea come to them, they put it there. A name come to them, they put it there. They might start developing a character, but the computer start distracting them, and they get pen and paper, and they develop this aunt, this mom, whomever they're trying to figure out. I had this little tiny book at a library once. I used to volunteer at my kids' school, and the writer talked a lot about getting pen and paper, getting off the computer, and just, she was writing a story about a dog, and she said, it didn't matter what she did. She said a computer and the dog would bark outside. Her dog would bark. And she could never get this thing going. And she says, you know what? She shut the computer down. She took her dog for a walk and she came back in and she started writing. And it didn't matter what. One of her best selling books. It's a kid book.
Wow.
Pen and paper guy. Focus, focus, focus. One thing, just the one thing. So for my writing period, I close everything down. For 2 hours, I write. And I don't do anything else. I might eat fruit or have a glass of water, but I don't do anything else. No music, no responding. Phone is on silent. I am writing. And if I have nothing to write, I spend the first half an hour thinking. I would just sit there and just think. And I would move things around in my head. And then I'll come back and start writing. And mostly is because I also had things that I was writing before that I'm coming to it. But if I don't like it anymore, there's also, when you're doing one thing, you can give yourself permission to get rid of that one thing and start over or do something else. Because it's the one thing. You weren't doing 10 things. So you're not feeling like, I can't get rid of 10 things. But one thing is easier to get rid of.
To set it aside.
Yes. And say, well, that's not happening. Okay, guys. So one thing, focus on one thing. And give yourself a timeline with that one thing that you're focusing on. Every Monday, I'm going to do this. And when that block of time comes, get there and do it. Don't do anything else. Focus is just hard when it begins. And focus is hard because you haven't given yourself permission not to do anything else. That's why focus is hard.
Oh.
If you say, Caren, this is all I'm going to do today. And everything that comes your way, let's say it's flying in, you would say, that's not what I'm supposed to do. And then you do what you set out to do. But as humans, as we get older, we don't think we can do that. When a kid is playing, my granddaughter's 5, and she's playing with her toy or she's playing with one of the toys, and her mom was showing her something else, and she goes, no, I'm fixing the house up. she's not moving from that little house she was fixing up. She's not moving. She's like, fixing the house. It didn't matter how we tried to distract her. Fixing the house. Mom, I'm fixing the house. That's it.
Okay.
That's how she's fixing. She's moving. When she's finished the house, then you can get her to move.
That is so good. We can learn so much from children, can't we?
We can. We sure can. We sure can. Don't dismiss it. Everybody bring their own piece of nugget to you, okay? All right, let's get into number 2. Are you willing to fail to learn what works for you? This one nobody likes, but it is so important. Oh my gosh. Because if I teach you something and you went away and do it, it is not going to look like what I taught you because you are in the picture. And so that's okay. So I signed up for a water class, right? And I'm painting alongside the teacher. And I'm not looking like hers at all. It's awful. But she's got experience and I don't. So it's awful. And I feel like I'm failing. And I am. But I'm learning at the same time.
Wow.
And I'm developing my style. And so let's talk money. So you've never saved before in your life. And I tell you to save $100. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. You're going to spend it. Something's going to happen. You're going to spend it. Okay. You try to save it again. You're going to spend it. Your job is to ask yourself why you want to be without $100. Let's turn it a different way. Not I'm saving. Why am I okay to be without $100? What makes it okay? Write some answers. See why you don't want $100.
Okay.
Most people say to me, no, coach, I want my 100. What are you talking about? I was at those kind of house parties where people sell things at. And I said that to one of the ladies there. She goes, are you kidding me? Of course I want money. I'm staying with my brother. I want to get my own place. Why would I do that? I said, something about money that you do not want. Some part of it. I said, are you a people pleaser? She goes, I am. I said, what else? She says, I'm afraid. I said, go on. She said, I'm afraid nobody will like me if I have a lot of money. I'm afraid that the friends I have right now, they wouldn't speak to me.
Wouldn't understand her.
And so when she gets money, she gives it away. Not willingly, but it leaves her pocket. She came to the function and she wasn't sure she had enough gas to take her back home
Mercy.
because she's afraid of money. But she and she wasn't saying anything. I mean, I didn't want to embarrass her, but it brought tears to her eyes. The party,
Yeah. When you start talking about it.
yeah, and but it was good, and it was good tears because here's what happened: we were able to put gas in her car. She didn't have to go somewhere and wonder she's gonna get gas. A bunch of ladies, we all come together. We got you. Gas is in the car. Two, she was able to recognize within that session, even though that's not what I went there for. My friend said, "Kai, you always bring people out." She had a rich aunt, and she
Mm.
associated that with herself because the aunt was a person who was very harsh to people, and so she associated being rich, having money, gives you power, and then you're not nice to people,
Wow.
and nobody's gonna like you, and you're gonna be a recluse. I said, I wanted to really, the aunt is still alive. I said, I really want, and the aunt liked her. I wanted to reach out and find out if she loves you any less. I want you to find out if, and I give her a list of things and I get into the personal stuff about it. But she says, Caren, through my friend, she says, I want you to tell the girl that was at the party that my aunt said, there's just no way. I love you. I'm just this way with certain people. See, had
Mhm.
she investigated, she would have known that this is not so. There's reasons around the framework, the boundaries that the lady had to put in place. But
Yeah.
she, being young, didn't understand. So she grew up with the idea. So she got married. The marriage didn't work out. And instead of fighting for half, she told him he could have the house. She doesn't care about it. So in the divorce, she didn't get anything.
Mm. Mm.
All she had was her car. I had to go get a new job. And she been living that way without understanding that she avoid keeping money.
Mm.
And so it
Mhm.
shows up differently for everybody. And I know we're talking about focus, guys. So, coach, where are you going with this? Because when you understand what works for you behave differently. And she had to understand what was happening with her and money. Some people lose focus because if they sit down and they focus and they really develop their business to where it needs to be, money will roll in. And
Mm.
scarcity probably is happening around money. Some fear of not being able to either keep it because they've lost it, or just as I spoke on, might lose friendships, or might know how to handle it. And so all these things happen. And so the distraction, the procrastination comes and plays in, and they can't keep focus because that same person will focus when they go to work. They'll go
Mm.
get a job, come back home, they'll be fine. But when it comes to themselves, because once you start a business, you understand that business, how powerful being a business owner is. It's hard work, consistency is a lot of things, but business will tenfold your money once you spend the time doing what you're supposed to do.
Mm. Mhm.
We don't do it well in business when we want to do what somebody else is doing. And see, the
Wow.
question was, are you willing to fail to learn what works for you? Me, Terry, what works for you? Not what works overall, what works for you. You have to find out what you're willing to do. I was in a meetup once, and a lady business is cockroaches. Yeah, we all, that's her business.
Mhm.
She cultivates cockroaches and sells to reptile owners and other things that's their meal,
Uh-huh.
and that's their meal. And she used to do worms. She does cockroaches. She's a millionaire. I just want to say this right here. She's a millionaire. You see her, you would not guess it. Quite simple. That's what she do. She said, I was good at it. I know what to do. I knew how to separate it. I know how to keep the place sanitized. I know how not to spread it around. And when I see that this was actual business and not I just want roaches, I buckled down and I did all what I needed to do. She said I used to hide. I got in the inspectors there. I make sure my place is clean. It is governed. She has to get it checked yearly, sometime twice a year. She's running a legit business.
Uh-huh. Mm.
Cockroaches. But she
Wow.
failed before she got there. Because you got to know it's for you. It's nobody else. It's for you. And then it extends itself. Sometimes when you take a class or course, we were always told it's for the customer. And that's true. But it's for you first. I wish the schools would teach it when you go to college or university. It's for you first. I
Mhm.
teach that. It is for you because when you understand, in other words, saying your why, then it's easy to serve your customers. It's easy to help them. We all lose focus at different times, but it's easy to come back in focus. A photographer, when they're shooting, sometimes they want you out of focus, and sometimes they lose focus and they have you shift
Mhm.
a little bit, stand on a pail, lean to the side, getting back in focus, right? The different
Yes.
forms of it.
Wow. Whew. I hadn't thought about that. I hadn't. I really hadn't thought about it that way.
And if you were a focused person before, what's the reason you have lost your focus?
Mm.
What shifted? Who are you blaming? Who are you? Who did you not forgive? Haven't forgotten? Haven't forgiven? What are you holding on to that is taking
Okay.
away your focus? And it could be sickness, death, somebody wrong you, whatever it is. That person doesn't know that you're punishing you because they're not in the picture. So they don't know that they're being punished.
Exactly.
You're being punished because you lose focus and you're blaming. And once you're in blame mood, you can't grow. Once
Mhm.
you're looking at somebody else, you can't grow. I know you think you're growing, but you're busy watching. You spend so much energy watching them while they do what they do. And they go ahead. And excuse me, I was in high school and I had a teacher who said that to me. She says, Karen, you're not focusing anymore. And I thought to myself, what is she talking about? I can get my work done. Say you're losing focus. I didn't like to hear it because I was helping another friend. And she
Mm.
would just see me helping the girl. And one day she said, losing focus. And she was right, but it took me a minute to really understood that I was losing focus. Oh, it didn't start right away, but over time, I would get the girl work done, and then mine would not be finished,
Oh no.
and I was slipping down. And she pulled me
Mhm.
aside. She said, "You're losing focus." One thing is, once you're getting ahead, you feel now you need to go help somebody. That is true, but not at your expense.
Okay. Now
Not at
that.
your expense. Mm-mm. You got to be able to finish yours to help her. To help her, you got
Hmm.
to be able to finish yours. So whatever is taking you away from focus, you need to go find out, and then put a pin in that, and then come back to what you want to do, what you're going to do.
Gotcha.
The people that you're admiring steady have to pull themselves back. The people that you wish you could be like, they've failed learning curve, they've gotten back up and dust themselves off. They've cried, they're wondering if they should be doing it, but you get to see the beautiful picture. You don't get to see behind the scenes. You
Hmm.
don't get to see the failure. The first time I made fudge, it was a pool of milk. The second time it was toffee. Third, fourth, and fifth time, more toffee.
Hmm.
The 10th time, it took 3 days to turn into fudge from making it the first day. But then
Hmm.
when I did presented it, people only see the good fudge. They didn't see all the fail fudges.
That's good.
Stay focused, guys. Stay
That's good.
focused.
Failed
Stay focused. Stay
fun.
focused.
Wow. That's a book right there. Failed fudge. Go ahead.
Stay focused. Yes, fail fudge. And it catchy too.
Yes, exactly.
Catchy too. Yeah.
Hmm.
So today we talked about the meaning of focus, and we talked about why do we need to focus what one thing at a time, just one. We need to focus just one thing, and we cover the failing part of life because I think one of the things we really need to get used to is the understanding that when something is new, we're going to be failing at it. We need to put that out there and not put a stigma to it or feel, but we need to really own up. Jim Rohn had said this. He says he wished that there was a room where failure, people who fail a lot, had a platform to come and tell us how they fail. Because we don't want to hear that. We only want to hear the good stories. We might
Yes.
be able to weave in failures, but usually nobody come into a conference to hear about failures. But he said
Mhm.
those that would make a really good speech. And I believe that because so many times when you're starting out or in the midst of it, you wouldn't believe how many people have failed. I've met people who made millions and millions of dollars, and they tell me, I lost all of it. I'm standing in front of you after losing millions of dollars. And not because I didn't do the due diligence, everything I did right.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. I was looking at flipping houses. He said I did everything. I inspect everything. All the paperwork was right. And then a brother showed up, and the house was never the sister that was selling it to us. But I'd paid the money already. I'd went through everything. And he had paperwork to prove that it wasn't her house to be sold.
Mm.
Never got the money back.
Yes.
Fighting about it, but never got the money back. And he said his uncle said to him, that's a valuable lesson. I want you to go back and take all the lessons leading up to getting this house and what happened. And I want you to stop the procedure of suing them, because he was about to sue them, or he started. The uncle said, do not sue them. Okay. I want you to just take the lessons from what happened. He said, Caren, I was furious. I was not sue. He says, no. Because if you sue them, and so I said, why? Because at the time I was young, in my 20s, so I was like, why? He says, my uncle said, if I spend a year or two pursuing this, it's time wasted. And
You're
within that year
distracted.
or two, the uncle showed him how financially better he'd be versus the suing go. He says, because although you can sue and be financially rewarded, your energy and your anger and frustration is going to take over. And that's going to get the better of you. And you'll
Mm.
make less money. And he said, I cried. I cried. I'm a big man with 3 kids, and I cried because I said, how could I let it go? He says, you have to.
Wow.
You have to. So,
And that is so true, because we will get distracted if
yes.
we don't focus on what we're supposed to be doing,
Mm-hmm.
because energy is seeping out the back door.
Yes. And you're carrying on. So we can't do that. We got to pay attention here, guys. You got to pay attention. Okay. So whatever is seeping in or seeping out,
Mm-hmm.
put a plug in it so we could stay focused on the money. Right. The rest of this month, we'll be talking about practicing, and we'll be talking about staying organized. We're doing all this stuff in July because we want to keep what we talk about. We learn about these things, and I want you to go ahead and have the tools to use. So that's why we're closing it up that way.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's what I got for you guys.
That was really, really good, Coach.
Thank you.
I got quite a few nuggets out of there,
Good, good.
especially the story about, don't get distracted. And I've
Mhm.
heard people talk about, losses in business
Mhm.
and things of that nature.
Mhm.
And yeah, I can see where that would be a real distraction, to have something else going on
Mhm.
where you're angry all the time,
Yes.
or it
Yes.
keeps coming back up. Um, okay. So with that, I'm telling you guys, bless your enemies and keep it moving.
Yes. What a
Mhm.
statement. What
Yeah.
a statement.
Because he'll fight your battles for you.
Mm.
So with that, Coach, I just want to thank you. I want to remind everybody that you can find Coach Caren everywhere on the internet machine. And if you're looking to schedule an appointment with Coach Caren, you
Mhm.
can follow this link, and you'll be able to get into her schedule and have a one-on-one with her about what's going on with your money.
Mhm. Yeah.
Also, is this course still up, Coach?
Yes, it's still up. It's still up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I keep saying I'm going to take this course. Okay, guys, we got to move. We got to get focused.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's get moving.
Get focused. All right.
Alrighty, guys.
So if you're looking to take this course, here is the link.
Mhm.
And tell us a little bit about the course, Coach.
And that course is, vision of possibilities. All these things you talk about, finding yourself, finding out what you want to do. I think the greatest thing is clarity. When you get clarity on what you want to do, you just
Mhm.
surprise yourself with what you could do, because you start seeing, I could do this. Hey, I could do this. This is possible.
There
So
you go. So let's get focused on the vision, guys. And with that,
yes.
we want to remind you that It's okay to make money in your business. If you
Yes, it is.
if you need help with your tech, just contact us here at bizchicks.net. We'd love to help you with that.
Net.
We'd love to have you be a part of our community, and you can join the
Mm-hmm.
bizchicks.net, or you can text biz to 33777. And we love to help you tell people what it is you do and how you serve. All right, guys,
Yes.
with that, we're going to call it a happy. Have a great day,
Yes.
and we'll see you soon. Bye bye,
Bye bye.
everyone. Thanks again, Coach.